She's slurring her words.
Do you want
She
to
wants to.
continue?
Oh, I don't know how long it's supposed to go through the night, so I don't. Unless you want to just listen to her, she's probably almost done. They're only
Uh,
giving them like a minute to talk, and some people will yield time over to them so they can go on longer. But you just missed AOC.
no.
Or,
Oh, that little turkey. Uh,
yeah, exactly, Peach. It says the woman who has the best health care coverage on my dime. Exactly.
what are they talking about the budget? Or I mean, not the budget, but the
The
tax
healthcare
bill.
or the no, about the tax bill, Trump's tax
Oh
bill.
gosh, yeah, guys.
They're barking about the Planned Parenthood. Oh my goodness. Uh,
Um,
Stupid.
I mean, if you can send me the link, maybe I'll go ahead
Yeah,
and do it
this
because
it's interesting. Yes, it's interesting to watch to see what they're all saying. That guy there reminds me of Sebastian Gorka.
but
Yeah,
I'm
I'll put
just
the
like,
link.
okay, I mean, because I
There
was
you go.
listening. I mean, I caught some of the thing about the tax bill. Guys, they're still taxing us to death. I don't care if you're
Yeah.
getting credits. You know what? But you know the one that bugs me the most is the baby one. First of all, that's limited to kids that have been born since January 1st of
Yeah.
2025.
Yep.
There's already, you don't need tax credits for that. There's already something set up in place that if you contribute to a kid fund, you already get that tax credit. I don't think,
Oh, I didn't know that. I wonder if
yeah.
Trump knows that.
Uh,
Trump probably doesn't know that, or he wouldn't allowed it to be put in there.
you got 529s. You can do a savings account, and as long as it's limited, your better bet would be to do the savings account. Of course, I mean
Yeah.
you get credit for the contribution, but you get taxed on the interest. But
Yeah, if they wanted to do it really, really well, they should not tax it on the interest, and they should make it so that oh geez, noodlehead. Um, they should make it so that there is no interest charge or there's no tax on it, and that it's used for further education.
well, that's what the 529's for.
Yeah,
Exactly what a 529 does. It's tax deferred, or it's not taxed, I don't think. But it's definitely used. It's like a college fund. I
yeah,
mean they've already got those tax. They already have something for that. So that's the thing that bugs me the most on that thing is the whole baby tax credit or whatever they want to call it, because it's like,
yeah.
what about kids from 2 or 3 years ago? Even, I mean, why 2025? I know, I guess I can't make it retroactive, but still, uh I mean, who were the geniuses that came up with that? But you know what they always do? This is what Congress does. They do it so it's somehow. Why do you think we got student loan credits? Is because someone in
Hmm.
Congress had students, and that's the reason why you can still um let's see, how can I put it? That's the reason why you can still claim your child in school even though they're not living with you.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Because Congress has a student in college, because your dependency depends on age and residency, if they live with you or not. This is how some of the illegals were able to get not necessarily
Okay.
child tax credit, but dependents, because they had their dependents living like in another country, like Mexico. They come in here with a green card, and then they're claiming all these dependents
Yeah.
to help out with their tax base. So
Yep.
they're getting a refund. People don't understand that if you got a refund, you're not paying into tax, because you zero your tax liability. You're not really paying a tax, kind of, sort of, because you're getting a refund.
Yeah, depending how much you over, I know that you can say, like, I never did dependent. Oh, I never had any, but I always do zero and pay the maximum in, and then I get some of my overcharged taxes back, and that was my refund, but it was what they overcharged me because
Mm-hmm.
I didn't claim myself as a dependent, which I could have. So I just, that way I knew it was always taken care of. If I made too much, but I never made too much. I never even came close, but just it was nice to have a few bucks by it until I realized, wait a minute, they're getting the interest on my money. I should be getting the interest. So I started doing it differently and getting the money to where I didn't owe them anything and they didn't owe me anything. So
Yeah,
this at
that's
the end of this year, the taxes are going to go really high. Apparently, Trump said the highest tax increase if this bill doesn't get passed because it negates what's coming this fall, I guess.
well, that falls on Biden. You know, if
Yeah,
that's the
it doesn't
case.
matter who it falls on, but we'll have to pay it. So they're trying, that's why the Democrats are pushing so hard. Remember, they took away their US aid money, so they don't have that free piggy bank to raid. So they've got to jack the taxes up so they can raid that. And they'll start raiding all of the lotto. They're just going to go crazy trying to find new places to steal money from.
Yeah. It's really disgusting how the tax system is set for the banks. I mean, it's really set up for the banks.
It is, yeah.
Hold on a second.
Excuse me. So I don't know who this guy is. They name off what state they're from. That guy there, I don't know who he must, oh, he must be the
Sorry
leader,
about that.
house leader. That guy there must be the house leader. Oh, you can't see him. I'm not sharing.
No, you're not sharing, so I can't see it. But
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what I may go ahead do that. Nobody seems to want to call me. Here I am. I got this get this number for everybody to somebody to call in, and they don't want to call in.
Sometimes they
I'm in a
will.
mood.
Depends who's out there. Yeah.
I'm in a mood today.
Yeah.
I got 10 more days for just until school's out,
Oh, good.
and you missed the. I say you missed the excitement. I was telling Aaron last on Saturday, last Thursday, when I was going back to the base to go to the house or come to the house. Uh, so I'm coming down the highway and I see this fire truck coming, and so of course I pull over, let it go by, and I thought, okay, I thought it was maybe going heading towards Malibu. You know, maybe something happened. Nope, sure enough, and there was a second one behind me, and it so the base was on lockdown. Nobody could get in,
Oh,
nobody
I
could
heard
get
about
out.
that. I heard about that. What was going on?
Well, according to my daughter, because I asked her, I said, "What's going on?" And I said, "We're on lockdown. I can't get in." And she said, "Well, let me find out." And it turned out that someone tried to run a barrier, and she's
Oh,
like, "Oh,
geez.
it happens," and I'm like, "Uh."
Wow.
It just reminded me of the well, she said there were three incidents, but I could remember two in Corpus where one guy stole a car and ran the barrier,
Hmm.
and 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 two incidents. One incident where the guards had to actually shoot the guy, and
Wow.
then I think there was one incident where there was a man and a woman in the car caught on fire because they ran the barrier. But you know, that's when we were all talking about MK Ultra, and because it was just such a weird. It
Yeah.
was just so weird. The guy stole a car, drove about 5 miles, and it wasn't a straight line. You know,
Really?
it
It's
wasn't a
almost like
straight
death
line.
by
He
cop, isn't it? Kind of like death
almost.
by cop. Yeah. Weird. Hmm. I don't know. People strange. They could have a V2 V2S thing where they're getting the voice to skull people messing with them until they do a lot of sleep deprivation with that until the person is suggestible. That's a trauma-based mind control.
Well, and I just found out too. It's not necessarily my loss, but someone I know passed away. 34-year-old young man.
Oh
He
wow.
got in a He got in a. It's really, it's the older you get and you see more people passing away. It's just, I don't know,
Well,
but it
if you
it
live
just
long
it
enough,
hits
you'll see
you.
everybody you know pass away, I guess. But
Well, I mean,
34, that's young.
my great grandmother survived. See, she had 3 kids. She survived all but two, but one kid. My
Wow.
great grandmother did. She out survived all but one. No, yeah, my grandmother and my one of my great uncles.
Boy, that'd be
But
tough.
he got in a high speed chase on a motorcycle with the police officers, and he ran into a car.
Oh,
And the car, I mean, the back end, he hit. He could tell he flipped over the bike and um, killed him instantly.
well, that's
I know I'm not
there's
trying.
when you think about it, it happened instantly. I mean, he knew what was coming because he knew he was going fast and was probably going to die in that last split second, but he didn't suffer, and that's a good thing. But I got a picture, a police report picture. One of the cops, instead of taking their trash to the dump, dumped it at the park and left it all over the ground. And I found one of the reports from the 60s. It looked like a comet, an old comet. It was new at the time, right? It was a long time ago. And there's a motorcycle embedded in the front of the car like a hood ornament.
Wow.
Apparently, this old lady was driving. This happened here in town, I guess, but the old lady was driving. There's a motorcycle stopped at the stoplight and she or the stop sign, and she didn't see him, plowed right into him. And I don't know how, but he embedded right into the remember the old cars, the big bumper, it was all heavy, but it just like part of the bike was embedded. I killed him dead, I guess, but
Well, I mean, the trunk of the car was all messed up. I mean, it was just
I
it
bet.
was like a high impact. It was like a high impact, like a truck running into him. It
Oh, they're
was
voting.
it was bad.
Yeah, let me put this chair up real quick.
Sure.
They're voting. I don't know. Oh, 436.
Time remaining. So are they doing line by line bills,
I'm not
or
sure. I
are
just
the
turned it on like 15 minutes before you came in.
well, the reason why I ask is because one moment you hear that everybody's applauding no tax on tips.
Yeah,
And then the people are asking, well, what about Social Security? And then I've seen people say, well, Social Security is in there. And
they just had what we watched was different politicians just stating why they liked it or why they didn't like it, basically, and try to talk people or to their constituents about how evil the bill is or how everybody's going to suffer if it passes. Democrat crap. The Democrats lost another guy today. He died. He was 75.
oh yeah, yeah, I was gonna
They've
go
lost
over
quite a
that
few,
too.
actually.
Well, yeah, this is like the third, but we did have a Republican that passed away within
Hmm.
about a month ago, two
Oh,
months
really?
ago,
Oh,
like
yeah, that's
in
right. We did.
February, March,
Yeah, this
February,
is the
March. I can't
this is the
remember.
one big beautiful bill.
I get to thinking about when President Trump says big or use the word beautiful. I'm wondering if that he's saying he doesn't like it because think about when he describes Peter Strzok and Lise Page. She always calls her his beautiful lover, and I get to
Yeah,
thinking,
yeah. Or
I wonder if he's really mocking that and say he really doesn't like it.
oh, I'm sure that Nellie Orr, remember the
Yeah, beautiful
beautiful
Nelly R.
Nellie Orr? She looked like a man. I
Uh, it's not gonna pass.
don't think so.
Was on order in previous question. What's that?
I'm not sure.
I mean, so far there's nays have it.
Oh, well. who was it out there? 76 said that Jones said cancer stats are skyrocketing worldwide. When I went on thank you, Nancy. When I went on the pickup for the ballots, because we had to go to outlying areas that had drop boxes for the election in November, the ladies in the front go out. I don't know anybody. I hang out home. I don't mingle. I don't, I'm not very social around here since the shots and all that stuff. But I heard the ladies in the front saying, "Oh my gosh, everybody's getting cancer. It's unreal." They both work at the courthouse, and they were talking about all the people that they know that were getting cancer. And I thought there was a lot of dummies here that took the shot and the boosters. Every time I'd go to town, I'd pick up I'd pick up the shedding. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Well, I thought it was interesting if you go back and look at some, back in the 2000s, and you look at some of the people. Ted Kennedy died of brain cancer.
Yeah, they said that he
Bo
had,
Biden.
yep, he had his phone next to his head. They said he lived on his cell phone, and they said that they think that's where he got his brain cancer from, was from the phone.
Well, and then you had Bo Biden, and I'm thinking, okay, there's something going on with that. What's this? What are the probabilities? Because I know people will disagree with me, but it's like up until like 6 years ago, until President Trump's first, I never really heard of people
Yeah.
having that many brain cancers.
Nope, you didn't hear about that.
They,
Now it's colorectal cancer is the big thing. A lot of
well,
people
I
die
know.
from
I
that.
mean, and believe me, I've had several relatives die of cancer over the years, back in the 70s and 80s. Um, so
But it
both
wasn't like
sides
in
of it.
masses. It wasn't like in huge waves like it is now. I think a lot of the colon cancers are from the poison they're putting on the food, because it's got to pass through the lower intestine. And with all the stress, people, when they're stressed, it slows down their metabolism, which slows down their digestion. So that all those poisons stay in the body longer. And there's just too much of it. Plus, it gives it time to. But yeah, we've been having brain cancer. Oh, the guy that died today died from esophageal cancer, which must have been horrible for him. Lung cancer, brain cancer, and um, the colon cancer. And supposedly Biden's got prostate cancer, and he's had it for
Prostate.
many years. And it's like, why didn't they operate on it? If it's true, I'm not buying that it's true. I think it's get out of jail
Uh,
free card for him. They'll just say he died and he won't have to go to prison.
remember, No Name?
Yep.
And what we were told about No Name?
Yep, exactly. That's what I thought. Because I read those. I read the Q. I read the first 10 Qs tonight on air, and it talked about No Name, and it's like, yeah, wouldn't surprise me a bit.
I think my thought was, okay, what's the distraction? I mean, of course,
Yeah.
the recording came out. The recording came out at the same time, and it's like, oh
Well,
no,
it's the
look
auto
at
pen.
me.
It's the auto pen, because he has to testify that he signed all those via auto pen. Well, we know for a fact he didn't, because during the inauguration, the auto pen was used, and he was sitting there on camera. He wasn't using it. But I think it's that, because these people don't want to go to prison for using that auto pen. Remember the Afghan withdrawal? He didn't do that. Even Trump said, even with illegal immigration, he says he didn't do that. He wasn't for illegal immigration. So he knows. I think Trump probably has hard evidence on them, but they're going to try and make it so, well, he can't testify because he's dead, as to whether he did it or not. So you look at that stuff and it's kind of like, And think of what else.
Nah,
What else came up? Something else came up that would affect if he died. It's protecting
nah,
people. He's worth more dead than
I just
alive.
I just keep remembering that one speech. I can't remember how far back in 2020, when President Trump said that Biden was shot. So that makes me
Well,
wonder.
what Heidi just said, that's Q kept saying, follow the pen. What if that's the pen we were supposed to follow, was the auto pen? That's a good point, Heidi. That's a good catch. It
Well,
might
there
be
could
right
be
on.
more than one pin. There's probably
Well,
more than one pin. I
you
mean,
think
there's
about it,
multiple meetings.
you think about it, we were reading the first 10 posts and they applied to today. It wasn't for
Mm-hmm.
back then, it was for today, to this very moment, and what we're seeing going on in the news. And that was in 2017. The very first posts were about what's happening today. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing the pen maybe also. I don't know. It's very interesting. When President Trump's still verifying that he's Q or Q plus. He's still working,
Mm-hmm.
putting things out about that. Crazy.
Yeah. That's the reason why I think that a lot of these agencies are going to go away because we were told that
They need
we're
to.
going to go back to the original three agencies because they're either going to be dissolved or they're going to be absorbed into another agency.
Yeah, well, you look at
That's
Cash Patel and who was it? Bunch, sitting there saying that Epstein was dead. And it's like nobody
yeah.
bought,
So
or that he killed himself, and nobody's buying it. Everybody's and you look at oh, what's his name? I'm trying to think of his name. Bannon, and a couple others are going, I'm not buying that crap. Let's get out of here. That's a bunch of BS. That people aren't buying that he didn't kill himself or that he killed himself. It's nonsense. They said all you have to do
well,
is look at the jail cell and it tells you everything you need to know. It's a bunch of garbage.
yeah. Well, they're doing it. I mean, who is it? Patriotsky and them. They played X-22 today, and the theory is that they had to do is to set a trap on these idiots,
Could be.
these sick people.
I think there's a lot
You
of that
know,
going on.
yeah. So so it's to kind of give them a sense of
Well,
security.
kind of like what President Trump did with President of South Africa today. Did you watch that?
Oh, I heard about it, and yeah, I did.
Oh,
I didn't watch it, but I heard it because I was at work. But yeah,
yeah, he burned him bad. He tried lying
and
about stuff, and President Trump had a video set of videos ready to roll, and he had a bunch of printouts. Or Vice President Vance gave him the printouts, like probably a stack of about 50 of people just recently who'd been murdered, white farmers who'd been murdered. And so the president didn't he was squirming. He wasn't too happy to have his lies thrown back in his face, but Trump was ready for him. And the guy, I don't know if he thought he's going to pull one over on him, but Elon Musk was standing there. So
and I have the AI bot shields, paid shields sitting there saying he didn't prove anything.
yeah.
It's
Oh, they're hoping people believe what they're saying that don't watch the news or don't watch anything live. They are hoping that they believe them. They lie about everything. They can't not
well. What about
lie.
catch that about the reporter,
So yeah, he got
the
salted good.
NBC reporter?
He probably won't
I
ever be
mean,
back in the White House.
well, see, here's the thing. He can let them in the White. I mean, he can let them in the press conference. He doesn't have to call on them.
Yeah. Well,
So
that guy
these
yelled.
people
He
that
was
sit,
trying to be the highest nail he pounded on, I guess.
yeah,
Yeah, he's
he
famous
did.
now.
Got his 15 minutes of fame.
Yeah,
Man,
Scott.
I wouldn't want that kind of. I wouldn't want to be. That would be the reason why I got fame because I said something so
Well, a lot of
stupid. I mean,
reporters are very ballsy. They are brazen and they don't care. Yeah, Scott Adams, I don't remember who he is, but I saw a picture of him. Uh, said he has cancer and will be dead by summer. Do you know who he is? I can't remember. I recognize the name, but I can't think of who he is.
Scott Adams.
Benny Johnson had a thing on him.
I think that may be the name. That may be who I remember from. I mean, that may be it. Let me see how I can. I recognize the name because I think I heard something about Benny Johnson. I'm usually working. I'm getting food ready for the kids, preparing food, and when I can, I have my earbuds in and I listen that way. But sometimes I just have to take them out.
That's
So,
Mike Adams, half right, not Scott. Political
but
social commentator. Okay, thanks. Hmm.
there was something else. Oh yeah, talk about Cash and Bongino. Cash, they're getting ready to move the FBI headquarters. And I got to thinking about that. Can you imagine what they're going to find?
Yeah, the
The
bugs. That's why they're moving it.
the bugs. How many? How many? I mean, think about the old files if they have not been digitized yet.
Yeah.
What kind of files will they? The paper trail. I
I
think
do
that's why they're
think
finding a lot.
I do think that a lot of these things that they're shredding, it's like, okay, the Democrats are destroying a bunch of records like crazy. It's like, there's no way that they're just now shredding stuff. There's no way that the good guys didn't have their hands on that stuff already and have copies of everything. It's just ridiculous to think, guys.
Well, certainly hope so.
President Trump said there were some rogue Republicans and he was going to have a talk with them. Massey's one of them. That guy, he votes with the Democrats all the time. And it's weird because he's
Well,
really smart. But I have a feeling that's what this is about. Because if all the Republicans vote yes, they can't beat it. Whatever this vote is about, ordering the previous question. They're all hanging around,
whatever
though.
the
Look at them. They're not planning on leaving.
looks like
And they
it.
said this would last most of the night. Yeah, the
Wonder what this
Republicans are
person.
outnumbering them. Sorry, I keep stepping on you.
Wonder what this person. Oh, she's the tally. She's taking. Who's taking the tally? Or is this the recorder? The lady in the on the floor sitting down.
I'm not sure. I think I think she's a stenographer taking official records, I guess. Audible. Wonder why it's taking them so long to. Oh, I guess she calls them. That's right. They call them and then they vote. So that's why it's taking a long time.
Yeah, they have to give them. Oh, excuse me.
Yep, not one. You're right. Not one different for it. And you look at the whole place is split down the middle. So they half of the country is represented by those losers, supposedly.
No vote. So this is a no vote. Is it because they're not there, or just because they haven't been counted yet? I don't
They
know.
haven't been called yet because they call them individually and ask them, and then they raise their hand or yell, yay or nay.
I mean, you literally almost have to have every single the every single one of the Republicans voting yes
Yep,
right now at this point.
yep, just about. I think we're five over right now.
When did we pick up an extra House chair? I thought we only had 435 representatives.
I'm not sure. Well, like I said, some of the Democrats died. I don't know if they've replaced them yet.
Well, maybe that's the one Democrat that can't vote right now.
Oh, could be. Oh, the time ran out. Oh, they're jumping up the number now. 2008.
May
They're still
pass.
going up.
Yeah, may pass.
Yeah,
Like I said,
it'll pass.
every Republican has to pass at this point.
Yeah, it'll pass. Trump had his discussion with them, and it looks like nobody's voted yet, so I think it's going to go.
Well, you got Murkowski, Collins.
Yes, those guys.
Is McConnell still around, or has he stepped
I
down
don't know.
already?
I don't think he stepped down yet. I think this fall.
Did you see the? I don't have it, but there's a clip going around about McCain talking to Rubio about why they should. I mean, oh my gosh, that thing got really stupid. McCain is so upset because of why should we give these South Africans special treatment to come in? Are you saying that, oh, and Rubio was not having it. He finally said,
Oh boy.
you're just mad because they're
Yeah.
white, you know?
Yeah, he roasted them and they tried shouting over top of him and he's like, yeah, I'm not having that.
I tell you what, I didn't care for what he did in 2016, the way he was opposing President Trump, but
Yep.
he's starting to grow on me.
President Trump talked to him. He had something hanging over his head. Because Trump had hinted. Oh, let's turn it up real quick. Trump hinted that some ties were cut.
Question on the option resolution. Those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. Appear the chair. The ayes have it. For what purpose does the lady of New Mexico
Requesting the recorded vote, Mr. Speaker.
Recorded vote is requested. Those favoring a recorded vote will rise. Sufficient number having risen, a recorded vote is ordered. Members will record their vote by electronic device. This is a 5-minute vote.
Oh, they have
Boy,
to
they're
vote.
trying to put the brakes on.
Well, no, that's a standard. It's like being in a jury
Yep.
and they're pulling the jurors to see.
Yeah.
That's standard. That's not a biggie.
Here we go with the votes again.
Yeah. It's recorded, people. Oh, yeah. I accidentally voted the wrong way. You know? Or I voted for somebody else that I
Oh,
shouldn't.
one Republican said no. Wonder who that was.
Probably Collins or Murkowski.
Yeah, Massey.
Who was the other one that's. But you know what? I can't remember if it was Benny Johnson. I heard it's something. I either heard Benny Johnson or somewhere. I heard someone say it. I can't remember that Mark Rubio and President Trump used to hang out with each other.
Really?
Uh-huh.
I didn't know that.
I didn't either. I can't remember who said it.
Well, I always called him Bubbles because he supposedly was busted in a gay bathhouse in a big bubble bath with a bunch of other guys.
Mm.
And I think they were holding that over his head or that they had something on him because all of a sudden when Trump, just before he appointed him, Rubio started flying straight all of a sudden. So I don't know what Trump promised him or what happened, but all of a sudden Rubio was all buddy palsy and everything was good. So he's doing a good job right now. It kind of surprised me. I was pleasantly surprised how well he's doing.
Not unless it was all part of the plan, you know.
Well, it might be too that whoever had, whoever had blackmailed him or done whatever to him, maybe Trump's given him a chance to get back at them by straightening out the record or whatever.
Well, that's
Some
like
things.
that guy, was it Ed Martin? You know what they did with Ed Martin, keeping him out of being the DC Attorney General, and now President Trump.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yep.
I mean, these
And I
people.
think that was planned, I think, to do that. That they knew they'd kick him out. They wouldn't let him come in. So
Yeah.
Trump threw them that bone and we're getting rid of him. And so they tossed him out. And when Trump got the new appointee in, that's the one he wanted the whole time, which was an even better position for them.
Mm-hmm.
But Martin ended up in a place where he's even better than he would have been.
Mm-hmm.
He was more useful there, and I think that was the plan all along. And I think Trump out-chessed them.
Well, it reminds me of two things that, they talk about the scare meeting model. President Trump, I think, still uses that. And also, when you think about Matt Whitaker, how did they sneak him in? It's only an interim. It's he gets it 120 days or 200 days. He could do what as Attorney General. So he had an assignment to do. So wait a minute. There was a yay. There was 2 nays on the Republican side, and now one of them's taken away. That's weird.
Well, that's weird. Hmm. Look at them all hovering around like bees in a hive.
Okay, I'm not sure what you're referring to. Yeah, I understand this is a House resolution, but no senators. No, we have 535 representatives together with House and uh I'm not sure what you're referring to, but yes, I understand that there's these are House representatives, but last time I checked, we only had 435 representatives in the House. So where did the extra representative come from? Did
Yeah, we
they,
got a spare.
is it because that they did some jury rigging, or they did some, was it, what do they call it? Redistributing. And so somehow some state ended up with a new,
Oh, they redistrict. I wish they would knock that stuff off. I don't think that's even legal.
I mean,
They just gerrymander everything so they can screw people. Second winding down. Republicans have 9 votes left.
let me see. Doing some
So it's what, 11, 12
searching.
to 2:30 in the morning there. They're all pretty chirpy considering.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, so according to AI, there are currently 435 voting members in the House of Representatives.
Huh,
So where did the other one come from?
good question. Maybe it's just a typo.
Yeah, and
They're voting.
I was
Oh,
listening
go ahead.
to Pam today, and he was like, so many people start relying on Grok, and I'm like, I don't rely
Yeah.
on Grok. That's silly. It's just a way to. It's just another way of It's like doing a search. You can't rely, because all it is, the information you're gonna get is all gonna determine whether or not
What's
uh
in X? Yeah.
well, it's based
Yeah.
on the information that a human has plugged in. That's all
Yeah.
it is. You know, if it's
Yeah.
a
And it's also with Grok. I've used Grok a few times for very complex questions or mathematical questions because it's kind of like a calculator.
mm-hmm.
It's like you can ask it. Like I had some exclamation points. I just ran it through Grok to see how many were there because it was faster than me trying to count
Okay,
them.
217 and 212 is not, and plus 3 does not equal
Yeah. Yeah.
to 430. So I wonder if those are 3 of the representatives that have passed away in the last month.
What
Might
purpose,
be.
gentleman from Virginia, seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, asking consent to speak out of order for 1 minute.
Gentleman is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I'm gathered here today with colleagues from the Commonwealth of Virginia and others with a heavy heart to announce to the House the passing of our friend and colleague, Congressman Jerry Conley.
I thought he was talking
I've
about
had the distinct honor to serve alongside Jerry for many years. Jerry served in this chamber since 2009, and before that he served 14 years on the Board of Supervisors in Fairfax County, including 5 years as its chairman. Jerry was a tireless fighter for his constituents, an unwavering advocate for the federal workforce, and a true steward for our democratic institutions. He loved America, the Commonwealth of Virginia, and of course his beloved hometown of Fairfax. As the ranking member of the Committee on Oversight and Government Reform, he spent the last few months on the front lines as a chief advocate for our federal civil service workers. I deeply valued Jerry's partnership. We worked together to champion policies that strengthen our communities, protect workers' rights, and expand opportunities for all Americans. As his friend, I know I speak for all of us here to say that we will miss Jerry's infectious energy, his humor, and his unique ability to connect with people. This is a loss for this chamber,
the Commonwealth of Virginia, and our entire nation. Our condolences go out to his wife Smitty, his daughter Caitlin, his staff, and the rest of his family and loved ones. Mr. Speaker, I'd now like to yield to my colleague from Virginia, Mr. Whitman.
Oh gosh. What are the pins?
I thank the gentleman for
that they're
yielding.
wearing?
You know, I've had the honor and privilege to know Jerry Connolly for over 3 decades. He and I served in local government together for years. We're part of the Virginia Association of Counties. Jerry had a deep passion for Fairfax County, for the Commonwealth of Virginia, and for this nation. And you wouldn't find anybody that had a deeper knowledge of issues and knew more about what was best to be done and knew more about trying to find a place to agree, about getting things done. You know, it was really something special about Jerry. I remember us having discussions back in the day when we just started out in local government, because we both learned from each other. He came from a big county there in Fairfax County. I came from a small county. I live in a town today, population 350. We couldn't have been any more different in how we reflected on the counties that we represented. But you know what? We had a deep commitment to doing what was right. And you know, I learned a lot from Jerry in his perspective on Fairfax, but also his perspective on the Commonwealth and perspective on the nation. And he was always looking to find solutions. He was always very passionate about people, about making sure he understood the policies and he understood how to get things done. Jerry was always committed to doing that. Jerry's legacy is going to live on forever in all of us. It'll live on forever in his family and live on forever in the things that he's done for Fairfax County, for the Commonwealth of Virginia, and for our nation. We will miss Jerry, but we will remember his legacy through the things that he has done and through what he did to reach out to others and to look for common ground to get things done in the best interest of not only his constituents, but of our Commonwealth and of our nation. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I yield back.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, I ask all of us to join in a moment of silence in honor of Jerry Connolly.
I don't think they need term limits. You need age limit. Look at all of them. I bet how many of all of them, how many of them are less than 65?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield back.
It's really Mr. Speaker.
Pursuant to Clause 8 of Rule 20, the unfinished business is the vote on the passage of Senate Joint Resolution 31, on which the yeas and nays are ordered. The clerk will report the title of the joint resolution.
Senate Joint Resolution 31, joint resolution provided for congressional disapproval under Chapter 8 of Title 5 United States Code of the rules submitted by the Environmental Protection Agency relating to review of final rule reclassification of major sources as area sources under Section 112 of the Clean Air Act.
The question is on passage of the joint resolution. Members will record their votes by electronic device. This is a 5-minute vote.
Here we go again.
So,
Listen to them all yakking when she was talking.
so this is about climate change?
I guess. I don't know. The Republicans are voting yes on it. Clean Air Act. Although Trump did say he had some things for the prevent pollution.
No, I was talking. I don't know.
They're voting fast on this one.
Wow, they're trying to cram a
Yeah,
lot of they're trying to cram a lot of bills in.
that's what they said. They said it'd probably be on most of the night.
What are they trying to do?
Yeah, this is a resolution, not a bill.
I wonder, what are they trying to do so they can have a 5-day weekend?
Who knows? Probably. They take more time off. You know, in a way, I'm glad they do take tons of time off because that's less time they can do damaging our Constitution and our Republic. But I don't like paying them for all that time. They're sitting around on their butts drinking cocktails.
Well, you know we still pay for it.
Yeah.
We need to go back to the good old days when they had to pay their own way.
Oh, Real Patriot says to stop EPA regulations. Awesome.
Mm.
I agree. And for Delicious, every one of them should be tested on Constitution. That way, when they break their oath to uphold and protect the Constitution, they can immediately be yanked out of office because there's no excuse for them not to know it. But there isn't now, actually. Another one of those ones in the Republican side saying no. If it's the same person, they need to get out of the Republican Party and go back to the communists like where they belong. Infiltrator.
Yeah, I'm getting some pushback about the fact that I said, I know there are people that are very, very capable after 60 and 70. It's just that, I mean, there needs to be new blood. I'm sorry. And, doing the same thing over and over again is the definition of insanity.
When they are in there for 50 years, there's no excuse for that. It was never supposed to be a career. It was supposed to be a service, a duty that you didn't necessarily want to do because you had a farm or a business you had to get back to and keep going. It was done as a responsibility, and it was never supposed to be done by, right now, if you're not a millionaire, you're not going to win an office. That's nonsense because it's supposed to be of, by, and for the people, and the people are supposed to be the average people. You're supposed the peers. You're the average person in your community supposed to be the one that's doing this. Yeah, like driving, it's a privilege, not a right.
I mean, I know we live longer too, although after the shots we may not be living as long as.
Yeah,
Uh,
but remember, Congress exempted themselves. They didn't have to get shot.
isn't that convenient?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just like they somehow decide they can vote themselves raises. That should go to the people. That should be on a ballot somewhere.
Well, Republicans took that one too. Yeah, career for most of them, and a third of them go further after, and they go into boards of directorships. They go to all kinds of advisory boards and keep making money. Well, they're probably pretty lit. Yeah, votes always split. And a lot of the Democrats got in through vote fraud too, so it shouldn't be that close of a pile.
Mm-hmm.
They want you to think that the country's divided, and it's not. The bulk of the people voted for Trump. I think if they ever get vote fraud out there and show people, I think it's going to be massive. People don't have a clue how outnumbered the left is. The left doesn't want them knowing because then they'll assume that when they take over, that they are the majority and not the minority, vast minority.
You get rid of these legacy media.
Yeah.
You get rid of that, and I know you can't
Get rid of the lobbyists. Yep.
You can't.
This vote, the yeas are 216, the nays are 212. The joint resolution without it is adopted. And without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid upon the table.
But if you get rid of the legacy media, and I know you can't technically get rid of them, but you can, I don't know, disband them or whatever. Look at NBC. NBC's becoming a joke. Or NPR. you know, and you
Yeah,
get
they've always been bad.
you get rid,
PBS, NPR, they're all bad.
yeah, you get rid of a lot of these, or at least defund them
From
enough where they have
For what
to.
purpose does the gentleman from Virginia seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, I offer a privileged resolution and ask for its immediate consideration.
Clerk will report the resolution. Clerk will suspend for a moment. House will be in order. Members, please take conversations from the floor. Clerk will read the resolution.
House Resolution 435, resolved that the House has heard with profound sorrow of the death of the Honorable Gerald E. Connolly, a representative from the Commonwealth of Virginia. Resolved that the clerk communicate these resolutions to the Senate and transmit a copy thereof to the family of the deceased. Resolved that when the House adjourns today, it adjourn as a further mark of respect to the memory of the deceased.
Without objection, the resolution is agreed to and the motion to reconsider is laid upon the table.
Looks like they're losing the House members.
Yeah.
They're either going to go take a nap or something. But get rid of the legacy.
What
meeting.
purpose does the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Arrington, seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, pursuant to House Resolution 436, I call up Bill H.R. 1, the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, and ask for its immediate consideration in the House.
Clerk, report the title of the bill.
Union Calendar Number 78, H.R. 1, a bill to provide for reconciliation pursuant to Title II of House Concurrent Resolution 14.
Pursuant to House Resolution 436, an amendment in the nature of a substitute consisting of the text of the Rules Committee Print 119-3 modified by the amendment printed in House Report 119-113 is adopted and the bill as amended is considered read. The bill as amended shall be debatable for 2 hours, equally divided among and controlled by the chair and ranking minority member of the Committee on the Budget on their respective designees, and the chair and ranking minority member on the Committee of Ways and Means or their respective designees. The gentleman from Texas, Mr. Arrington, the gentleman from Pennsylvania, Mr. Boyle, the gentleman from Missouri, Mr. Smith, and the gentleman from Massachusetts, Mr. Neal, each will control 30 minutes. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Texas.
Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent that all members may have 5 legislative days within which to revise and extend their remarks and include extraneous material on H.R. 1.
Without objection.
Mr. Speaker, I yield myself such time as I may consume.
Time is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, for the last 4 years, the American people have suffered one self-inflicted crisis after another, from the chaos at our southern border to our crime-ridden streets to a cost of living crisis that decimated working families from sea to shining sea, leaving Americans weaker, our country more divided and more vulnerable than it's been in generations. Colleagues, lest we forget how we got here and why this moment is so important and so consequential in the life of our country, let's reflect on the recent history. Under the leadership of Biden-Harris and congressional Democrats, our federal government failed to enforce the laws of our land and unilaterally surrendered our sovereign border to terrorist drug cartels. On top of that, our military mission was reduced from warfighter readiness to ideological indoctrination. We lost the confidence of our allies, the respect of our enemies, and America's influence on the world stage. Unbridled spending and failed fiscal policies sent our country's economy into a tailspin. Trillions in deficit spending, trillions more in regulations, cradle to grave weather without work, and an all-out assault on American independence wreaked havoc on our economy and created the worst crisis in 4 years. In November, the American people Trump and his mandate and united Republican leadership in Congress to reverse on these policies and their disastrous consequences. And that's exactly what this bill does, Mr. Speaker. The One Big Beautiful Bill Act delivers the greatest investment in border security and national defense, largest tax cuts for families and small businesses, the most significant commitment to unlocking America's energy resources, and the largest reduction in spending in the history of the United States twofold. But in an attempt to derail our efforts, you can be sure of this: our Democrat colleagues will use their tired old tactics of fear-mongering and false claims. They like to lead you to believe that this reconciliation bill is a, quote, tax cut for the rich on the backs of the poor. Their narrative throughout this process has not only been misleading, Mr. Speaker, and completely untrue, it preys on the fears of our nation's most vulnerable. Here's the truth. The 2017 lowers tax rate for every American at every income level, with the lower income families benefiting the most, while actually increasing taxes paid at the top 1%.
Deb?
Yeah, I'm trying to get it pulled up.
Okay, let me, oh, you need, is the link not working?
It's my computer having issues with the computer.
Uh,
I had to Saturday.
Oh, dear. I can leave it. I can. Oh, come after you. Who comes on after you?
Well, it's this way. No one is there is someone technically scheduled,
Scheduled.
but no one does. So it's whoever's out there who has to. Because I can't leave it to
Oh.
you. I can't.
Well, I leave on, but whoever can have to be able to take it down and turn my sound off is a problem.
If I can get it up.
Well, you can see if you can. If you
If I get it going, maybe. Like I said, I can't. I just can't stay up. I can't do 5 hours. So it's
no, that's
not.
no. It should be up to SoCo should be putting something in that spot, so you don't have to stay on all night. I've done it hard. I was earlier in the day. I could easy, but late now.
Yeah. So I gotta get up. I gotta get up and like. I get up at 6 o'clock. I end up getting up at 5 o'clock or 5:30 as soon as sun comes out.
Oh.
So I'm only 2 or 3 hours sleep.
No, I likes this look in my head. So I was breathing skunk breath and skunk air all night. Give me.
Deserve and delivers to SNAP the accountability taxpayers demand. American farmers, ranchers, and rural communities and let's fight for them. And one big beautiful bill delivers on that mandate.
This bill will kill 400,000 people in the state of Pennsylvania off their health insurance. I'm happy to gentleman from Texas, the ranking member of the subcommittee on Ways and Means.
Gentleman from Texas, for 1 minute.
Another promise. Republicans are cutting Medicare $500 billion. On October 1st this year, every Medicare healthcare provider will see a 4% cut, and that will occur year after year after year as seniors try to find someone who will accept Medicare. And on January the 1st, millions of Americans who rely on the Affordable Care Act lose their access to a family physician. Medicaid for those in nursing homes, for half the babies born in my hometown of Austin, cut. Almost 14 million Americans losing their access to health care. And the new Trump culture sabotage plan.
Take the share down.
Okay.
Okay. So you can
here is
anyway.
so I get it.
Oh,
Yeah, it may not because, like I said, it just draws. So let me get my share gun, and I shall be right back.
Finally, my brother, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. We do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of this age, against spiritual hosts of wickedness in the heavenly places. Therefore, take the whole armor of God, that you may be able to withstand an evil day, and having done all, to stand. Stand therefore, having girded your waist with truth, having put on the breastplate of righteousness, and shod your feet with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above, taking the shield of faith, with which you will be able to quench all of the fiery darts of the wicked one, and take the salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God, praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, being watchful watchful this end with all the perseverance and supplication for all the saints, and for me, that utterance made given to me that I open my mouth boldly to make known the mystery of the gospel, for which I am an ambassador in chains, and willfully so, that in it I may speak boldly as I ought to speak. Amen.
I ask the Jesus from President Trump that he might wisdom and strength and coordinates and turn was for his deeds, bring function, recognize or moving your rights. If you're a show story, it was not. Bring all the such in the key. It's all the rest of the Trump and if you have all this in influence.
That seems to be a fun one to watch.
It's for lefties losing it. Let's go to the Can't First of all, with the update themselves about how special, brave, humble, inclusive they are, and how they are at the forefront of fighting.
That didn't work right. Let's see. If I can do it this way. All right, let's see if we can go through this way. That's right.
Cannes Film Festival with the uber rich gather to
It works better with taking share down. Like, is this taking share down? It starts being. Alright. Let's try.
about how special, brave, humble
Where can we go? You know, we talk about the representative. Can't play the show. Well, here's the thing. Now, I mean, I talked about it last week. I can't remember if it was last Wednesday or if it was Saturday, but I saw something about Newsom, the debt clock. Callie here. Oh yeah, one word Newsom. Yeah, did you see that? Where I now again I have not vetted it. I do not know if it's true or not. But have you seen where? Let's see. Let me. Okay, here we go. Let me do this, and then we'll go over and talk about Newsom and what supposedly he's doing. So Jim Irsay, the owner and CEO of the Indianapolis Colts, died on Wednesday. You know, this came out just like within moments after the Representative Connolly's passing. The team said in a statement he was 65 years old. So I don't know much about this guy, but Jim's too and passion for the Indianapolis Colts, in addition to his generosity, commitment to the community, and most importantly, his love for his family, were unsurpassed. The cause of death was not immediately given. The team said he died in his sleep on son of former Baltimore Colts owner Irsay spent much of his young life around the team, including serving as a ball boy during games. Some of Jim's fondest memories came from his youth working training camps, Baltimore, coaches, and staff, whom he considered his extended family. He worked in every department before he was named the youngest general manager in team history in 1984 when the Colts arrived in Indianapolis. So, people are just passing away. So, let's see. I'm doing all this in the dark, so Newsom N-E-W-S-O-M. I don't even know how to spell his name. Bill. Let's see, side bill. Toilet paper. Legal. And then I also heard that these taxes. Oh yeah, okay. So this is a real thing. He wants to raise the taxes, the gas tax. Yeah, I know in my area in Southern California, at one of the gas stations I look at, it stayed like from May the 1st to last week of the weekend. It stayed at 509, 519. I mean, like I said, I said the last Thursday morning or Saturday that there was a time when if the gas prices changed, it was on Thursdays, and now it's like it starts on one price during the morning, and by the afternoon it's gone down 2 or 3 times, or it's gone back up 2 or 3 times. So did you see it? So anyway, this was nope, wrong bathroom. That's over. Or maybe it wasn't. Maybe he didn't sign it. Let's see. Maybe it was. Okay. That's the reason why you never can believe. You can't always believe what you see on the. This. I don't know what bill it would be. But I tell you what, I know something. I mean, although this before you flush, do not flush warnings. I go to the park, and there's a park that I've gone to, and I tell you what, sometimes it's stunk to high heaven because someone either flushed too much toilet paper down the uh, or it or someone either or it's here you go. Let's see, which way do I want to go? Or it or the papers on the toilet and stinks. And you talk about comedy. I mean, we can go look at that. Let's see. So new sucks to in carbon policy. Let's see. So do something release May version of his budget proposal for 2025-2026, which is to a trade program that some analysts were could raise gas prices again, while also helping a problem-ridden high-speed because seeking money. Some provide budget proposals reported by political includes 15-year extension. California's cap and trade in 2013 and was established to limit greenhouse gas emissions in the state. While the program is currently set to expire in 2030, the state legislature is considering extending it, which some have cautioned could lead to a spike in gas prices in the state over the next few years. The state's cabinet natural gas power plants, coal power plants, and other companies allowances to offset emissions, according to the U.S. Energy Information Administration. Well, wait a minute. Okay, so in other words, what happened to ending, your EVs, the mandatory EVs? So if you have all these EVs, wouldn't it be logical that you would get rid of all these coal plants? Yeah, he's going to have to make up the loss of no longer getting paid for the homeless. Yep. So the program establishes a declining limit on major resources of GHG emissions throughout the state and also incentivizes companies to invest in cleaner, more efficient technologies and energy, according to the California Resources Board. You know what? I see these, they have these air meetings, over air quality, about once a month. And it's kind of like, I said it before, California does not have a pollution problem. They have a chemtrail problem. I mean, the chemtrails are so bad, and then 2 or 3 days, it's all foggy, it's all nasty weather. Analysts have warned that Californians could face potentially massive gas price hikes over the next years due to the potential reauthorization of the state's cap and trade program, as well as the planned closing of a few major California refineries. California refining capacity is dying. It is dwindling. Marlo Lewis Jr., a senior fellow at the Competitive Enterprise Institute, told the Daily Caller News Foundation. 2 major oil refineries in California are set to close this year. No wonder the gas is so high. California also has the highest gasoline tax in the continental U.S., which also increases the cost of gas. California basically has to produce its own oil and gas or import it by rail and ship. That's all part of what I call California's climate recession. Californian households could pay an additional cost of roughly 74 cents per gallon of gas if the state's Democratic-dominated legislature extends its cap and trade program, according to a May report from California's Legislative Analyst's Office. The potential increase in gas prices could be particularly burdensome for the state's lower income households, as they tend to spend a higher portion of their incomes on transportation fuels than higher income households do, according to the report. That's the crazy thing, right? Is they want to get rid of the the gas powered cars for the electrical vehicles, but how many people can actually, even if they wanted to get one, how many people can actually afford the cost of an electrical vehicle? Is that enough? Trying to get a cost, depending on the car you want. I mean, some of these cars that are like $30,000 or $40,000, I'm just like, what? I refuse to pay a rent on a vehicle that loses its value the moment you walk off. You drive it off the car lot. I just won't. If I can, and so, how much are EVs these days? I don't know, because I don't want one. Let's see. So this represents an extreme scenario that does not reflect the built reality of the program. Lindsay Buckley, a spokesperson for CARB, told DCNF. The Legislative Analyst's Office recognized that this is a hypothetical situation. Come on. It hasn't worked so far, right? If it's been in place for 2013 and California still has the highest gas prices, really? You really think that extending it is going to help anything? These people are so, I don't know if they're just stupid or corrupt. Cost containment measures are in place to prevent price hike spikes to high levels. So the analysis does not consider the large number of allowances purchased at lower prices, which have been banked by companies in the program would also avoid such spikes. In fact, extending the program provides market certainty and attracts liquidity to manage price volatility. This is observed in historical data when the program was extended past 2020 under AB, was it Assembly Bill 398. In April, President Donald Trump unveiled an executive order targeting certain programs similar to California's cap and trade system, claiming such initiatives discriminate against energy producers while also raising energy. These high fuel prices in California have nothing to do with corporate greed. Oh yeah, right. Well, you know what? I know people think it's the corporations, and to a certain point, I agree. I mean, is it corporate greed or is it the politicians' greed who is influencing corporate greed? They have nothing to do with collusion by oil companies to manipulate the markets, Lewis told DNCF or DCNF. They have everything to do with the energy infrastructure of California, which is driven by California energy policy and climate policies. You can either get rid of the climate policies that are ruining the market, or if not, maybe you ought to try and provide some type of even playing field for the industries that you have targeted for destruction, Lewis added. It certainly will go against Gavin Newsom's moral compass, because picking winners and losers and interfering with the marketplace is what aggressive energy policies are all about. These are essentially no upsides to any of these policies aimed to curb climate change, including California's cap and trade program. Kevin Derretna, a senior research fellow at the Heritage Foundation Center for Data Analysis, told the DCNF. They come with significant economic costs and essentially meaningful environmental impact. We have modeled these types of policies at the federal level, and they come with significant economic costs and essentially. Okay, I read that twice. Okay, this is a. Looks like this is a. We have modeled these types of policies at the federal level. Those two sentences are kind of awkward. They come with significant economic costs and essential environmental impact. Newsom's proposed state budget would also shell out a minimum of $1 billion annually to help fund his state's beleaguered high-speed rail project. The California High-Speed Rail Authority was established in 1996 to supervise the build-out of a high-speed rail in California. The project has been marred by significant setbacks, including far exceeding its proposed budget and experiencing significant delays. Yeah, that's because they keep taking the money from it, and which is probably because they know they use this project as a kind of like a bank, right? As a savings account where they put the money in the project, and what do? They take money out of the project to put back in their pockets, money laundering 101, or, to give it to the homeless. The project was initially projected to cost $33 billion to be completed by 2020. It reminds me of Boeing, right? And the Air Force One. But now it's expected to cost between $89 billion to $128 billion, and only 119 of the planned 776-mile railroad is actively under construction. The problem with Newsom's budget proposal is that right now, that high-speed rail is about $100 billion short of the money. It needs to go between San Francisco Francisco, Los Angeles, and Anaheim. Mark Jaffe, a visiting fellow at the California Policy Center, told the DCNF, that is not enough money to solve the problem. They would have to hope that they could get more money from the government. Well, USAID, I think, has kind of kiboshed that. Or the money tree has dried up to fund the high-speed rail. I mean, why would the federal government get involved in this in the first place? It's a state thing. It's a state issue unless it has to do with the highway or the railroad system. I guess that's how they justify it. Or a private company would have to fund it. But it is pretty unlikely that a private company would fund California's high-speed rail, as it has not really met any of its objectives so far. In February, the Trump administration's Department of Transportation announced that it was launching an investigation into the called California High Speed Authority, or CHSRA, to determine whether to rescind roughly $4 billion in taxpayer money for a proposed project to build a high-speed rail system in California's Central Valley. Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy wrote in a February press release that American taxpayers have subsidized the monthly over budget until the California high-speed rail project for too long. And it's like I said before. Yeah, you look at the fraud and the waste, and if that USAID funded, you're going to find out that all these states, like California, supposedly having the fifth largest budget. Oh, is it GDP or economy? The fifth largest economy. That's a load of bulk. I mean, they're being subsidized by these projects by the government. They don't have that. I mean, remember what we were told. What were we told? When a state is out of money, what happens? You got wildfires. We're getting ready to go back into and speaking of wildfires, there's was it Minnesota or Michigan that's been on fire for the last week or so, but it's like nobody wants to talk about that. Or the tornadoes that ripped through somewhere. No one doesn't talk about that either. I don't think that California lawmakers have the right incentives to really aggressively move forward and complete the high-speed rail project. But they don't want to. It's all a sham, Jaffe told the DCNF. California is notably facing a budget shortfall of roughly $12 billion, which Newsom has blamed on economic impacts from the Trump era. Jeez. Oh my God. Yeah, because the federal government, your taxpayer dollars, were subsidizing California. Remember who's a relative of Newsom? Oh gosh. Remember who Newsom's aunt is? Nancy Pelosi. What committee is she on? What kind of committees is she on? And others. The Golden State spending has grown significantly since the governor took office in 2019. Gosh, she's only been in 2019, with California state budget increasing over 60% from that year to June 2024, according to a May 2024 report from the Hoover Institution a conservative think tank. Moreover, a large number of Californians have left the state during Newsom's time in office, with many of them citing the high cost of living in the state as a key factor for leaving. We appreciate Governor Newsom's commitment to delivering the nation's first high-speed rail system right here in California. The CHSRA CEO Ian Chowdhury said in a statement shared with the DCNF, the Cap and Trade commitment of a minimum of $1 billion per year will help us finish on that momentum to extend out to Bay Area and Los Angeles. It puts us on the right track to attract and utilize private investment in the system and get clean, electrified, fast, high-speed rail delivered as soon as possible. Newsom's office refer the DCNF as a fact sheet about the Cap and Trade program when reached for comment. So here is the what's the article, what you call it, the press release, I guess. I just out of curiosity. So Cap Invest, building Cap and Trade for the future. Gavin Newsom's revised budget proposal seeks to extend California's national leading climate pollution reduction program. It doesn't work. Known as Cap and Trade, that is currently to set expire in 2030. Oh, what else are we looking at for 2030? Isn't it? Doesn't it begin like with UN Agenda? Agenda 2020, which was formerly 2021. So extending the program. Wow. I mean, come on. Think about this. Is it, you think that's tied into the UN Agenda 21 or 2020? So extending the program to align with the 2045, extending the program, which has delivered nearly $33 billion in investments in the last decade, beyond 2020 to beyond 2030 to 2045, will further California's climate leadership. Oh gosh, set the state on a clear path to achieve its 2045 carbon neutrality goal. Ooh, that is that's a phrase that's in Agenda 2030. Provide greater market certainty and attract stable private investment for decades. The new name of Cap and Invest reflects the program's mission: a stable and predictable price on carbon to drive deeper investments in carbon reduction and clean technologies, making polluters pay for fire protection and prevention. So to help address the projected budget shortfall, the governor's Cap and Invest proposal supports California Fire's operations by shifting $1.5 billion from the general fund budget to greenhouse gas reduction fund on an ongoing basis. This aligns with the polluter pays principle, in which carbon emitters fund the state's response. You know, pretty soon he's going to try to tax everybody just for breathing. Because, you know, when you breathe out carbon dioxide, then you're breathing out a gas that's going to pollute, then they don't know. They don't know science. Stabilizing and securing high speed rail's future. The proposal calls for at least $1 billion from the GGRF annually to establish a stable and predictable funding stream for the state's high-speed rail project. A guaranteed minimum funding level will improve project planning and development and create new options for project delivery, including potentially making the project more attractive to private capital. This will help accelerate project delivery, lower long-term costs, and increase flexibility. But this thing has been going on for how long again? You really think if it's not done by now, do you really think it will? Stabilizing and securing high-speed rail's future. The proposal calls for at least $1 billion from the GGRF annually to establish a stable. Oh, wait a minute, didn't I? Let's see, $60 billion available for California climate credit. Importantly, this program continues the California climate credit, resulting in approximately $60 billion available for utility bill credits. You shouldn't need a credit for your utility bills to California residents through 2045. Since 2014, California households have already received an average of 1,120 in automatic climate credits for their utility bills. Why do climate credits? So there's a PDF on this. So California won't bend the knee to a federal administration hell bent on making America polluted again. Stop polluting our skies with chemtrails. California does not have a pollution problem. It's the chemtrails. Oops, sorry, but it didn't mean to. Yep. Like I said, they don't know science. If they can't, come on. AOC wanted to get rid of cow farts. Then she realized that the cow farts is what is part of the ecosystem. They don't know the ecosystem. They keep talking about climate change, but they don't know how the ecosystem really works. It's crazy. So cap and invest is the next chapter for one of our most effective tools to clean air, keep our communities healthy. Yeah, again, how many times do I have to say it? Stop polluting our water and stop polluting our air with chemtrails. Stop polluting our food supply. We're going to make polluters pay for solutions to the climate crisis. Well, you're the one that created it. Of course, you claim, the polluters clip. Yeah, you're talking about yourself. See, they are self-incriminating themselves. Including CAL FIRE's world-class fire protection and prevention operations and holding the line on high-speed rail, providing a stable source of funding critical to delivering this project. We will do all of this while continuing to get money directly back to people. No, they won't. They want us broke. They want us broke, living on the government. And, the crazy thing is, everybody calls, everybody pay your fair share. Well, they want you broke. So making $60 billion available to help Californians with their utility bills. They shouldn't need help with their utility bills. A new spokesperson told the DCNF that since the trade programs established, it's, and this is quotes, it's estimated to have created 122,000 jobs and has delivered $15 billion directly back to Californians in form of utility bill credits. You know, not according to the people I see on the new, was it Nextdoor app. According to them, their utility keeps going up, and even with the cuts, so that have averaged more than 1,100 per household since 2014. All content created by Daily Color News and Independent Nonpartisan is available without charge. Blah blah blah. Yeah, I agree. Never won't. Cows don't fart. Isn't it funny? It doesn't. Yeah, it is funny. Like I said, they never know what they're talking about. They do. They make it up as they go along. That's, yeah. I want to leave this. We go from here. Let's see about this guy Connolly. What was the name, Representative Connolly? Connolly. Kind of look him up. I don't know if y'all liked it last week when we did some. I mean, did y'all know that No Name was actually friends with the Bidens? Did y'all? How many of y'all knew that? Let me see. This is 75. Okay, oops, where did my wiki peek? Where did my wiki go? Here we go. See, he got into office. Was he installed in office, or was he? It's. I mean. Okay, so. For the Australian. This article is currently being heavily edited because its subject has recently died. Information about their death and related events may change significantly, and initial news reports may be unreliable. The most recent update to this article may not reflect the most current information. Please feel free to improve this article. The edits without reliable references may be removed or discuss changes on the top page. So here we go. Gerald Edward Connolly was an American politician, served as U.S. Representative for Virginia's 11th Congressional District. So he's 2009, which they mentioned in the thing today. Oh, he was on the House Oversight Committee. Interesting. He was actually the ranking member of the Oversight Committee. I gotta find out what the Oversight Committee does. So he's been in office 16 years. He was first elected in 2008 to replace retiring Republican incumbent Tom Davis, who did not seek re-election. So, just out of curiosity, Tom Davis is an American lobbyist and former politician who served as a member of the House of Representatives. Let's see. Davis considering So he left the representative, the House, to go run for the Senate. But he decided against it. So he did not. So from 2008 to 2018, he was the Director of Federal Government Affairs at Deloitte. It's a multinational professional services network based in London, and it's the largest professional services network in the world by revenue and number of employees. Interesting. So now he is currently the Board of Visitors at George Mason University back in Virginia. And is a trustee of the CrissCroix now. Brings together researchers from many disciplines to study phenomenon known as the mind. I wonder, ding, 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 I wonder if they do anything in, have anything to do with MK Ultra. Neuroscience. It's amazing what you can learn when you just kind of follow the trail. So, let me go back. The 11th district is situated north in Fairfax. So in 2000, okay, so in April he announced he would not seek re-election. Let's see. So he worked on, oh gosh, Senate Committee on Foreign Relations. Let's see, hold on. Oversight, NATO. He worked on NATO for what, 5 months? About 5 months. Let's see. Chair of the county. I don't want to think about them showing their, listening to their voice. How many of those do you think? This is what. So he, to launch war. So who was president during 2014? Conley on the president's authority to launch war on the Islamic State. Committee, budget, foreign affairs. I think there's too many. I mean, you talk about government, big government. Look at all these different committees and subcommittees, and are you kidding me? Do we really need all of those committees? So he voted with Joe Biden's stated position 100% of the time, according to 538 analysis completed January 2023. He said during debate of the articles that extorted a foreign country to investigate our political opponent is an unconstitutional abuse of power. Let's see. Interesting. I just let's see. Looking at his Here, see, here's the timeline of his political. Huh, interesting. Conley was a company member of the Providence Players of Fairfax. Does that mean that acted in several? Does that mean that it made him a good actor? Just saying. Just having fun. Too. Wow. So on May 15, 2023, two of Conley's staffers were injured when a man walked into his Fairfax, Virginia office and attacked them with a baseball bat. So the U.S. Capitol Police identified the man as a 49-year-old Zun K. Tran Pham of Fairfax. So Pham was also charged with a racial hate crime for an incident that occurred several hours earlier when he smashed a car windshield after asking the occupant if she was white, and was acquitted by reason of insanity. So in November 2024, shortly after being reelected, see, okay, here we go. So after being reelected, he disclosed that he had been diagnosed with esophageal cancer after experiencing slight stomach pain. So, okay, so the question is, did he know this going into re-election? So, did he actually know? And he wait, or did he wait? Did he wait? How long had he known that he had cancer of the esophagus? Prior to the election, and yet he still ran for. That is just so wrong, in my opinion. Let's see. Let's see here. All right. So the committee of oversight is the main investigative committee. Oh, there you go. On oversight and government reform is the main investigative committee of the United States House of Representatives. The committee's broad jurisdiction and legislative authority make it one of the most influential and powerful panels in the House. Its chair is one of only 3 in the House with the authority to issue subpoenas. Well, no wonder none of the subpoenas were ever issued without a committee vote or consultation with the ranking member. However, in recent history, it has become practice to refrain from unilateral subpoenas. So Carolyn Maloney served as acting chair of the committee following the death of Elijah Cummings. So Elijah Cummings. So now we know why there's, okay, so here are a couple of blocks into here's a couple of blocks of why nothing's been done to some of these real crooks. So Jim Jordan served as ranking member from January 2016 to March 2020. On March 31st, Jordan switched to become ranking member of the Judiciary Committee instead. Mark Meadows served as ranking member from March 2020 until March 2020. March 13th. So he was only in there for what? 17 days when he resigned his congressional seat to become House Chief of Staff. Representative James Comer was selected to succeed Meadows. Comer became chair when Republicans regained control of the House majority, and Representative Jamie Raskin became elected ranking member. Politico reported in late January that Representative AOC would be appointed as of. Wait a minute. How long has she been? How does let's see, she's only been in since what, 2016? I mean, she's what, a junior member, and yet she's already a vice ranking member at that time? So for the 119th Congress, Comer was reelected to serve as chair. Raskin sought and won the top position on the House Judiciary Committee. Representative Jerry Conley, who previously served as the chair of the Oversight Subcommittee. See, there's too many committees and subcommittees. So the House Democratic Steering and Policy Committee voted 34 to 27 to appoint Conley. I mean, really, let's see. The panel, now known as the Committee on Oversight and Government Reform, was originally the Committee on Expenditures in the Executive Departments, created in 1927, and it was to consolidate 11 separate committees on expenditures that had previously overseen the spending of various departments of the federal government. Oh boy. The Committee on Expenditures became the Committee on Government Operations in 1952. The new name was intended to reflect the committee's broad mission to oversee the operations of government activities at all levels with a view to determining their economy and efficiency. After Republicans gained control of the House in the 1994 elections, the committee was reorganized to include 7 subcommittees instead of 14. Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, so instead of 14, we'll have 7. Well, it's still too much. This reorganization consolidated the jurisdiction previously covered by 3 full committees and resulted in a 50% cut in staff. While it's not enough, in 2007, a reorganization under a new Democratic majority combined the duties of 7 subcommittees into 5. It's still too many. In this 106 Congress, the panel was renamed the Committee on Government Reform, while retaining the agenda of former Committee on Government Operations. So here, subpoena usage. 1997, the Republican majority on the committee changed its rules to allow the chairman, Dan Burton, to issue subpoenas without the consent of the committee's ranking Democrat. Well, I'm sure because the Democrat probably would walk him at every turn. Okay. So AOC got elected in 2018, so that's only 7 years. And yet she's a vice. Oh my goodness. From 1997 to 2002, Burton used his authority to issue 1,052 unilateral subpoenas, many of them related to alleged misconduct by Bill Clinton at a cost of more than $35 million. Yeah, that's probably because the Democrats blocked it. By contrast, from 2003 to 2005, under the chairmanship of Tom Davis, the committee issued only 3 subpoenas to the Bush administration. After Republicans retook the House in the 2010 election, new chairman Darrell Issa, and he's a Republican from California. Can we even trust the Republicans from California? Escalated the use of subpoenas again, issuing more than 100 in 4 years during the Obama administration. That was more than the combined total issued by the previous 3 chairmen, Davis, Waxman, and Towns, from 2003 to 2010. So between 2000 and 2006, many major events and scandals in the Bush administration generated few or no subpoenas from the Republican-led committee. These events included the September 11, the leaking of classified information identifying the clowns agents Valerie Plame, CIA-backed abuses at Abu Ghraib prison. The Bush administration claimed that Iraq possessed weapons of mass destruction. Illegal campaign contributions by lobbyists included Jack Abramoff, deaths, damage due to federal FEMA's weak response to Katrina, Phil Cooney's suppression of data demonstrating the existence of global warming. Oh my gosh, or global warming. After the release of Downing Street memo, which contained incriminating information on the build-up to the Iraq war, Democrats in the minority refused a hearing chamber and were forced to meet in the basement of the United States Capitol. Under Davis chairmanship from 2003 to 2007, the committee launched 2 controversial investigations. One of those investigations triggered by the publication of Jose Canseco's memoir. He was a Cuban-American former professional baseball outfielder and designated hitter who played 17 seasons. And his memoir, Juiced, on a steroid use, concerned the use of anabolic steroids by Major League Baseball players. An inquiry was made into the case of Terry Chavallo. I remember that. Chavallo. In that investigation, which concerned the removal of a feeding tube from a woman in a persistent vegetative state, the committee issued a subpoena requiring, I can't remember how to pronounce Shivo, that's it, Shivo, to appear so that the members could examine nutrition and hydration which incapacitated patients received as part of their care. The apparent objective of this, beyond providing information to committee members, was to delay the impending withdrawal of life support from Shivo, whose wishes were in dispute. While Congress considered legislation specifically targeted at her case, members of the Democratic minority opposed the action. Chairman Davis said it was a legitimate legislative inquiry. Yeah, I mean, I remember all that with Terry Shivo. There's a lot of questions that, way I remember it too, there was a lot of questions on that, and I mean, that was a very emotional time about what was going on. Kind of makes me wonder now that we know that, yeah, Shivo. I remember it Shivo, Shivo. Um, now that now that I've learned what I've learned now, it makes me wonder if there wasn't some sort of agenda behind all of that. So the committee also investigated the World Wrestling Entertainment's wellness and drug policies amidst speculation about a possible link between steroid use and the death of WWE performer Chris Benoit. On July the 8th, 2009, committee Republicans released an investigative staff report discussing the 2008 financial crisis. The report alleged that the government had caused the collapse by meddling in the United States housing and lending market in the name of affordable housing. In February 2012, the committee held a hearing on the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act mandate that would require all employers to cover birth control free of cost to women. Personally, I don't think employers should have to cover birth control for women. I mean, there's plenty of birth control on, over the counter you can get. You don't have to have a prescription. I thought that was what Planned Parenthood was for. They used to give out free birth control at one time. I don't know if they still do. Specifically, Republicans on the committee alleged that the Department of Health and Human Services rules governing exemptions for religious institutions violated the free exercise clause of the Constitution. The chairman, Daryl Issa, if I remember correctly from what I looked up on Daryl Issa, that was a very interesting. The way he got elected may have been selected. It's been a while since I started doing some digging on some of these people. So the hearing was meant to be more broadly about religious freedom and not specifically about the contraception mandate in the health reform law. After Aaron Swartz committed suicide on January 11, 2013, the committee investigated the Justice Department's actions in prosecuting Swartz on hacking charges. On January 28th, Issa and ranking member Elijah Cummings published a letter to Attorney General Eric Holder questioning whether prosecutors had intentionally added felony accounts to increase the amount of prison time Swartz faced. He was a computer programmer, entrepreneur, and a hacktivist. I wonder what he came up with. I may have to go back. See, like I said, you start doing this, you find these little tidbits, and it just kind of makes you wonder and you want to go down rabbit holes. On July 10th, 2019, a hearing was held by the United States House Oversight Subcommittee on Civil Rights and Civil Liberties entitled Kids in Cages, Inhumane Treatment at the Border. Oh boy. On the inhumane treatment of children and families inside child detention centers on the south border. Jamie Raskin, that dweeb, chaired the session, which included testimony from Yasmin Juarez, the mother of Marie, who died at the age of 19 months while detained in the United States Immigration and Customs Center in Dilley, Texas. In its own opening statement, Raskin said that hundreds of thousands of people have responded to the harsh policies by deciding to migrate now before things got even worse. Huh? What? Okay, That does not make sense. So they're going to migrate here, but before things get worse. Are you kidding me? And remember, it wasn't Obama's one that put them in cages. And you know what? In some cases, it was, I don't know how the cages were, but in some cases, it's actually for their protection. So on December 2nd, 2024, the United States House of Representatives Oversight and Accountability Committee's C-19 panel issued the final report ahead of a hearing that week, which, among other things, argues that the highly controversial lab leak theory or lab leak hypothesis, the idea that SARS-CoV-2, the virus that caused C-19 it wasn't a pandemic, it wasn't an epidemic, it was a panic-demic, a PANIC demic, came from a laboratory. The report is so critical of mask mandates and lockdowns. How about that? So this is in 2024. Of course, this is after the presidential election. But it's still under the 118th congressional system. Pete Sessions. A lot of task force. So, pursuant to Committee Rule 14, the committee chair is authorized to appoint panels or task force to carry out duties and task force. I mean, it's not just about all these agencies, it is about all these committees and subcommittees. Do we really need all these committees? I actually worked for the state, the fire marshal's office when Waco happened, and I had a coworker that knew 4 of the ATF agents that died on that day, on that raid, that initial raid. At least she said she did. So is there anything else about this Connolly guy? So Connolly's career as a public official began March 28, 1995. Ooh, sorry. That's not funny. I get it. Alright. Let's see. See what we can, where we can go from here. I still have about 15 minutes. See if I can get this up. Wait a minute. Hold on.
It's time for his losing. Let's go to the Cannes Film Festival where the uber rich and famous gather to congratulate themselves about how special they are at the forefront of fighting. Here is
which is bad because I like sharing videos, but it just doesn't do any good if it's going to be messed up like that. So I got about 10 minutes. So what can we talk about for 10 minutes? So does anybody know what the final how the house ended up today? Oh, sorry guys, I'm starting to lose steam. Let's see. Oh yeah, George went from Cheer dies today, or so. They say that. It's interesting. So construction workers discover not one, not two, but six old shipwrecks. This is a human interesting story. So cruising on the Varberg Tunnel Railway project in Sweden shipwrecks the and exemplified designs and construction styles. The ship was from the 1930s as it remained most intact for further study. Construction on the Varberg Tunnel in Sweden, part of the modern railway project, has an unexpected bounty of historical underwater finds. Shipwrecks spanning the Middle Ages to the 17th century, all maritime remnants of what was once a bustling harbor. On the 6 separate wrecks found, 4 are from the Middle Ages or late Middle Ages. 1 is from the 17th century, and 1 couldn't be dated according to a translated report from archaeology consulting group Archaeologerna. Elizabeth Shager, Archaeologerna project manager, said in a translation statement that wreck numbers 2, 5, and 6 were the most intriguing. Found in the central part of the city, which was once an original shoreline and location of harbor defenses, wreck 2 was both the most preserved and the only with a continuous structure. 5 and 6, wrecks 5 and 6 required hasty removal due to time constraints on the tunnel's construction project, which could have left additional portions of the ships underground. Wreck 2 comprises the remains of an oak sailing ship built during the second half of the 1530s, using timber from West Sweden. The built style where the edges of the timbers overlap still include 2 hull sections of the ship's starboard side, along with scattered timbers. The ship's design also featured a protective strip on the outside of the hull, which Jaeger called exciting. This piece is a sport ship to protect the hull when docking and can also as a brace for super. The fully In a fascinating twist, the team found traces of a fire in the protective strip of the wreck 2. The ship could have been intentionally burned before it sank. Wreck 5, which is from the 17th century, has much in common with Wreck 2, including wool oak and a clinker design. Experts believe both ships were likely sailed in the waters beyond the two medieval cities of Varberg and Newburgh, and that Wreck 5 also likely sailed much of the sea. Wreck 6 differs from other I think that's a typo, other two craft. This was the caravel ship of the 6, as all which planks are laid edge to edge, attached to the frame, and wrecked around for a smooth finish. Also made of oak, Wreck 6 was the only wreckage with a preserved keel. This rabbeted or grooved keel shows traces of Dutch shipbuilding tradition, but experts were unable to date the timber. Wrecks both from the 14th century were flat ships common in medieval trade. Crews will work to analyze these ships further, hoping to find additional clues about maritime life during the Middle Ages, including the area's port as more large infrastructure projects occur in the west coast of Sweden. Shager said that the crews are finding more shipwrecks in the areas that were either harbors or entirely underwater during the Middle Ages and early modern period, but may now be parts of city centers. The current work is happening in tandem with Bohuslän Museum, Visual Archaeology and Cultural Environment, Halland. It is very interesting, Shager said, and we will have a lot of exciting things to tell in the future. An interesting, ooh. Okay, I know, I need to go pretty soon, but I'm just finding stuff. I'm finding interesting stuff. So archaeology in a lost temple solves a major historical puzzle. So archaeologists recently found ruins of a ceremonial temple covered in 4,000 to 5,000 years old in northwestern Peru. The excavation team first discovered the walls and subsequently unearthed a mix of features indicating that the structure was once a temple, and then came skeletal remains of 3 adults tucked between the walls. We may be facing a 5,000-year-old religious site that constitutes an archaeological space defined by walls built by rammed earth. Luis Armando Muro Yonan, Director of Cultural Landscapes Archaeological Project of UCEPA, Valle de Zanya, said in a translated statement for the Peruvian Ministry of Culture. The oldest portion of the site features not only the up to 5,000-year-old walls, but also various architectural features that help define the site as a ceremonial temple. We have what would have been a staircase from which one would ascend to a kind of stage in the central part. Muro, I'm just going to call him Muro Y. It's probably silent. Said, noting that the stage could have hosted ritual performances in front of an audience. The ruins include friezes with images of cats, or friezes with images of cats, the claws of a reptile, and a human body with the head of a bird. to slow down the executions of the religion. Team plans to study the chemical makeup of the Merle can help confirm how old this fall. But it's just architecture located in the sand where human remains. There were remains too. According to Reuters, the excavation located the remains of 3 adult bodies positioned between the walls of the temple. Nearby was also a bill of brown linen that potentially served as an offering. It was amazing, said Murrow, according to a statement of the Field Museum in Chicago. The emergence of religion in Peru. We still know very little about how, under which circumstances. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by this side thing. I wish if I put it in Firefox, I don't know if, I like to block that. Under which circumstances complex belief systems emerged in the Andes, and now we have evidence that some of the earliest that people were creating in this part of the world. Murrow said the temple likely contains more information about a people group that predated the unknown habitant or the known habitants. Let me read that again. Murrow said that the newfound temple likely contains more information about a people group that predated the known inhabitants of the region. We don't know what these people call themselves, he said, or how others referred to them. All we know about them comes from what they created, their houses, temples, and funerary goods. The excavation team was invited to the site after the local government observed looting in the area. It was that these very ancient structures are so close to the modern surface. Murrow said, "We think that a large tilt into the side of the mountain, and we've found one section of it. Archaeologists also found a more recent temple." Time between 600 and 700 AD. Murrow believes that the second site comes from the Moki culture. This one also features remains, those of a young child, possibly between 5 and 6 years old, but from a more recent time. The people here created complex systems and perceptions about their cosmos, Murrow said. Religion was an important aspect of the emergence of with me earlier. I told Chris, I was sharing with her that one of my friend, he was a friend of my daughter's. He was only 34 years old, and I kind of meant to expand on it earlier, but the fact that he was in a high-speed chase, I don't know why he was, but he got into this high-speed chase with the police on a motorcycle, and he hit a car at such a high rate of speed that his bike, literally, he was tossed off the bike, the motorcycle. And it just goes to show you don't know. We're not guaranteed what's the word I'm looking, what am I looking for? We're not guaranteed tomorrow. And so it's very important that you know and you're prepared. So with that being said, it looks like Poe. Hello, Poe. How are you?
Oh, hey, Deb. I'm doing well. How you doing? I seen you winding down there. I just woke up.
Oh, wow. How was your trip?
Oh, it was a great trip. Got to see the kids. My daughter's a little overtaxed. I'm a little worried about her. I've got twins. One's doing well, and the other one, they're both doing well, but one of them is not as well as the other. I like her doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't like it when they're upset. So and there's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah, I know. It's like, yeah, yeah. I feel for. Okay, well, I'm going to go and hit the back. I am tired. I probably shouldn't say that. Because I probably well,
Not the way we've been going lately. No,
I
no.
probably shouldn't say that. Self, self prophecy, but I'm tired. This is
Yeah.
the other night I got sleep. I ended up staying up at 2 o'clock in the morning a couple of nights ago, and it's like, ah, man, I didn't want to do that. I did it anyway. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And being up. So, it is what it is.
I appreciate you having a reading. I told so. I can't do this long in the night. In the middle of the night, I gotta get up in a few hours, and
Oh, I
and
know
yeah,
it's hard.
it
It's hard, and they yeah. This morning, this is the only morning I have off. I just pop up. I pop in just because I mean, I'm out. I really don't even know what we're gonna play, but I'm sure I've got stuff.
well, my system is my computer is. I gotta figure out how I can reset all the settings. Something for something that's keeping me from updating Windows 10. So I have no update. So I think that's causing a lag and dragging and keeping me from being able to play videos. So I gotta
Oh, you
figure that
can't play
out.
videos. I could not do a show and just sit here and talk. These people get sick of me. That quick, because I've got a short fuse and a hot mouth.
Well,
So
I've gone on my few rants, but I'm gonna. I've been guys. I just want a reminder. I've been putting on. Oh gosh, I started looking up on YouTube. I don't know why. It just out of a wild hair. So I'm now on YouTube also. So I'm gonna. So now I've got. Who knows? Probably in a few months I'll probably start putting stuff back on X that I've got. I don't like to have to try to keep track of all these different platforms. So we'll see.
my problem.
Anyway,
I just want to see people hung. I'm
I
sick
tell
of
you
trying to
what.
convince. I don't even care what they think. I don't care at this point. Just
Right.
hang people and get it over with. I don't even care.
This whole
So
thing with the tax bill. I mean, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's another way of getting money out of us. I mean, there is already they're talking about this baby tax credit. I'm like, there is if you want to open up a savings account for your kids, you can do that, and you can still claim it, as a credit, as a contribution. You can add that. You can do that already. You can open up a 401, not a 401k, but an IRA, and just you be the custodian. You can open it up for a minor. It's a custodial account. You can already do that. The only difference is if you do it as an IRA, that they can't touch it until they reach retirement age. That's the only problem. But I mean, if they take it out ahead of time, they're going to be penalized, and they're going to be taxed on the penalty. They're going to be taxed on any any distribution that they take. That's the only problem. But you can already do that. And it's like, why are you doing this when it's already there? There's a system set in place already. Anyway, I like talking to people because then I can rant, you know. It's easier to rant when you're somebody face to face that you can rant. You know, it's hard to rant with by yourself. It's like a pity party. You can't have it by yourself.
I didn't get into law. I don't know. I really just kind of slept yesterday, so I really wasn't. I don't know what's going on.
There was the House was meeting earlier. I don't know when I came in and to relieve Chris. They were still going, but I couldn't play it because my system wouldn't let me play video. So, but they were doing all these resolutions, and they were voting on all these resolutions. And of course, when I was going to take over, they were voting on the tax bill, and I'm just like, I'm so disgusted about that whole thing. And it's so confusing because of course you got the Senate side, and then you got the House side, and then they got to reconcile it, and you know, it's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm about had it with these people. So
I know.
I mean, I about had it. So
Well, but you know, supposedly, I don't know. I mean, supposedly, hopefully, you know, I think hopefully things might start working after the 26th. So I don't know. There seems to be some good vibes out there about the 26th. So we'll see. We'll just
I'll
see.
wait. I'm a wait and see her. You know, I'm sick of 2 weeks from now. 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Yeah.
This will be over. I'm sick of hearing it. You know,
Well,
I'm sick of it.
I don't know about being over, but you know, might see a big turnaround. Hopefully, like I said,
Yeah.
hopefully, I am like you. I'm a wait and see type person. I don't, I don't believe anything either direction. I don't believe anything that comes out on the media, and even the alternative media. I don't believe everything I see.
Yeah, no, me either. I don't even know what to believe anymore. You know, I've got one of my guys dogging Flynn too, and so I should play that. I'm gonna play that. That'll be it. And
Well, go ahead.
yeah, no, I think I'm gonna pull that up and play that too. So, but I'm just gonna kill what, an hour till 7. Mike's up at 7.
I think so. So.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
for
think
me,
he's
it's
in.
still to it. It's so funny how 3 hours make such a big difference. Because for me,
It
it's still
does
2
make a
o'clock.
difference when I thought I was on the early shift when I was out in California. It's like crazy, you know.
It
So
is.
yeah, it's 3 hours is a big difference. And I don't know
Yeah.
how they would change it because it comes light on this side of the country. It's still dark over there. So I don't know how they would change it, you know.
Yeah, it's 2:15. It's almost 2:15 on my end, so it's kind of like I mean, people are starting to get up, get ready to go to work, and I haven't gone to bed yet. You know, I took a little nap earlier, but I haven't gone to bed yet. So,
Yeah,
and I'm gonna have to get up in about 2 hours, so 2 or 3
yeah,
hours. So it's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. I'd go crash
Okay.
if I were you. Yeah, go crash.
I am. I'm going to go crash. So
Yeah,
you have a good one, and I'll see you next week, maybe.
yeah, I'll be around.
All right.
And
Have a
as
good
luck,
one.
God willing, I'll be around.
Yeah. God
So,
willing that the creek don't rise.
right, God willing, the creek don't rise.